friends, welcome to the All-Canadian Reptile Girl. I'm Annaliese, and I'm actually 3 geese in a costume. You may have seen Fingers here guest hosting a few of my videos, and he and I figured it was well past time that he and his brethren get a proper video of their own. So today, Fingers and I are going to be talking about carpet pythons, and I will share my thoughts on what keeping this intelligent, stubborn, and sometimes feisty species is like. Let's get to it! Carpet pythons are awesome. They're big, but usually not too big, beautiful snakes with gorgeous patterns. With a variety of morphs available, you've got lots of options from an aesthetic perspective. They're primarily found in Australia, though a couple of species, there are 6 species in all by the way, can be found in Papua New Guinea and some other islands near Australia and Southeast Asia. They are hardy snakes that have adapted to thrive in every ecosystem in their range, except for in the insane, crazy, you will melt hot deserts in the driest, any water immediately boils deserts, you know? Like those places, they don't live there. The southwestern carpet python, for example, lives in the not too insanely hot deserty areas and arid treeless islands of southern and western Australia. The jungle carpet python is found in hot, humid rainforests. Jungle carpet python, rainforest. Checks out. Darwin's carpet pythons, like Fingers, live in open forests, woodlands, and grasslands. The nominate species, Moralia spilota, the diamond carpet python, also likes to live in woodlands and savannas, but as the most southernly occurring and one of the most cold-tolerant python species in the world, you can add rocky, higher elevation mountainous terrain to their list of preferred habitats. There's actually some pretty cool things diamond pythons can do to be successful as a big egg-laying species in such cold areas. Let me know if you'd like to hear me talk about that in a future video. Coastal carpet pythons live, well, pretty much wherever they want. Rainforests, temperate forests, grasslands, agricultural areas, backyards, and people's attics are a favorite for these guys. They are down to live in just about any environment that other carpet pythons can, except for the cold areas that those nutty diamond pythons like to hang out. And maybe those desert boys in the not too hot deserts, but it's still a desert places. Basically, carpet pythons as a whole are hardy and adaptable, and just one of the reasons that they can make such great pets for the right caretaker. With the variety of habitats they occupy, there is no one-size-fits-all for carpet python care requirements. You really need to properly research the care requirements for the particular species of carpet python that you are bringing into your home. But you knew that already, right? In addition to researching their particular care requirements, you're going to want to know what you're getting into size-wise, because there can be a pretty substantial difference in size between the species. Like I mentioned, there are 6 recognized species of carpet python, usually. The ICUN lists 8 for some reason. Anyway, the coastal carpet python is the largest species and can get up to 14 feet long. Although most don't get quite that big. Fingers here is of the smallest species of carpet python, Darwin's carpet python, also known as Iriangaya or rubber python. They generally get around 6.5 feet. Fingers is a pretty big boy at 7 feet, but is still well short of the biggest Darwin's recorded length, which is a freakishly huge 9 feet and 2 inches. Imagine Fingers, but just a bit bigger than Hobbs. How cool would that be?
That would not be cool at all if you wanted a 6-foot snake.
That would be really cool. They are often cited as nocturnal predators, and that's true to a large extent, especially for those living in more northerly or hotter areas. But carpet pythons actually are cathemeral, active pretty much any time they feel like it, day or night, depending on what's the best for them from an activity or heat regulation standpoint, or for when their prey is accessible. They can expertly hunt on any terrain, but are largely arboreal, well, except for those southwestern pythons that live in the treeless islands off of the southern coast. Duh. Spending a lot of their time in the trees and hunting and eating rodents, possums, flying foxes, birds, lizards, whatever is small enough to take down, which, I learned, sometimes includes koala bears. Carpet pythons are actually the second biggest predator of the koala bears, behind wild dogs. Sorry, koalas. Trees are a pretty good place to hunt. Lots of animals live and hide in them, so there's no shortage of food up there. But hunting way off the ground does present some challenges, particularly when you have no arms or legs to hang onto the branches. But carpet pythons have this covered with a prehensile tail to keep them from tumbling to their doom. It's also one of the reasons why they get into such mischief. And they use its prehensile tail to hold on while they use their massive needly teeth to snag fleeing prey and strong jaw muscles that really help chomp down and hold on while they can wrap it in their powerful coils. Oh, thank you. After a nice and thorough hugging, they will start to eat, often hanging upside down under their prey to eat. You know, why not use gravity to your advantage when you can, eh? Would you mind? Most stubborn snake we have, by far. Carpet pythons are known for being very nippy as babies, but will calm down after some consistent handling, which is pretty much the case for most snake species. But if they are not properly socialized when they are young, it will continue into adulthood, and you might have a tough time taming down an unsocialized adult. Again, I kind of feel like that is true of a lot of snakes. I am very lucky that the snakes in my home all have wonderful dispositions, and I didn't really need to put in too much work to, well, tame them down, socialize them, and make them comfortable with handling. Fingers is the exception. He's not bitey, don't get me wrong, he's a sweet boy. But he does have a very wary and nervous disposition, and we have been working with him to improve that and help boost his confidence, you know? And he's getting there, but he's still a little skittish, especially when he first comes out. I met Fingers in the same place I met Hobbs in a pet store in Pointe Claire, Quebec while visiting family. Let me clarify. The family doesn't live in the pet store. They live in their own place. I was visiting the pet store while also visiting family, but the family doesn't live at the pet store. It was like, oh, we're here. I like to visit this pet store. Let's take a break from visiting family and go. Stop with the microphone! And let's go and look at the pet store while it's... My family lives in human homes, not in a pet store. When we first got him home, after he gave a half-hearted strike to Mom, not a great first impression, but you know, he didn't actually land it. We set him up in a simple quarantine enclosure and let him settle in. At first, holding him was tricky. He didn't strike or bite after that first time, but he really seemed to have trouble deciding how best to get away from whoever was holding him. He would simultaneously stretch out his head one way and his tail the other and just kind of like waggle about trying to get away. It was very hard to keep him from falling. He didn't hold on. Eventually, he'd resigned himself to being handled and would begrudgingly tolerate our love. Oh, hello. Over time, he's become much more agreeable. Back when we got him, touching him anywhere near his face would send him freaking out. But look at this. These guys are smart and require mental stimulation for optimum mental and physical health. Providing enrichment to snakes in general goes a long way toward improving their ability to handle stress. Snakes homed in enriching environments, through the enclosure they spend most of their time in, or stimulation provided outside of it, are more adaptable and more likely to explore new environments or peoples. So setting up a nice enriching enclosure for Fingers for when he was done quarantine was top priority in our strategy to get him to be calm and easy to manage when handling. I did a reveal of this enclosure with my big sister at the beginning of this year, and you can watch it here. I think I'll put it up there probably, but I'll give you a quick tour. It's a 4.5 by 3 by 4 foot enclosure. Don't mind the yellow tape, by the way. Mom let the door swing closed a little too quick and cracked the glass from down here all the way up. And Dad hasn't epoxied it yet. It's so hard to get good help. I can't take too much credit for this one. Dad did most of the work, so I guess he can be forgiven for the epoxy thing. This rickety looking bridge right here, is the focal point of the enclosure. It actually conceals a hide on this side, which is, buddy, I'm trusting you. Right there, see? It's that hide. Oh. He's really hungry. There's also a shelf on this side that you can't see, but it is there. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot it existed and Dad needed to remind me, but to be fair, Fingers never uses it, so I didn't need to hold on to that information. So I didn't. This is where Fingers spends most of his time, in his hide on this side, or stretched out or curled up on the bridge. He doesn't go down onto the floor, or he rarely does. But he likes to nap in his hide or on the bridge itself, or do this. And it's about 2 days before feeding, and like clockwork, he will transition to the left side of his enclosure and do this. Exactly what he's doing now. He will anchor his back half there and then let his front half, or his head and neck, just hang down in a strike pose and wait for food. We call this his feeding position, and if we walk by in the living room and he's like this, we'll call out to whomever can hear us in the house and go, oh, Fingers has assumed the position. And he will stay in this position, trying to convince us that we are late with his dinner for about 2 days before it's actually feeding day. I don't know why it's the left side of his enclosure though. Like maybe it's because the first time we fed him in here, I think it happened to be on the left and it's just stuck. Maybe it's just the most comfortable place to do it, but it's convenient. So that's nice of him. We usually have an enclosure here, so it's easiest to feed him from this side, and you can kind of use the door as a bit of like a shield to feed him. So I'm happy he eats on his left side. For whatever his reasons may be, it was a good choice, bud. When we finally get our act together and feed this poor starving noodle, he doesn't disappoint. There's always an intense stare down, dramatic strike, and cool looking acrobatic coiling of his meal before he goes into the iconic upside down carpet python feeding routine. It's really cool. You know what else is cool? People who help and encourage and support others, like my friends over at Patreon. They're wonderful people. This patron here was a hopscotch champion in 4th grade. Neat, eh? I make the list go up, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be on the other side.
You know who you are. I appreciate you. My patrons help me make the best homes that I can for my scaly friends. Oh, she's ticklish. They get early, ad-free access to my videos, behind-the-scenes stuff, and more, including the chance to have your question answered in one of my videos. Today's question is from Kimber Dillon, who asks,
how do you get started doing educational programs with reptiles successfully?
Ooh, good question. I would say obviously have some reptiles, but you don't need a whole bunch. You can start small. Make sure you have a good grasp of what the animals you have are all about. You'd be surprised at some of the questions you might get. So research them really well so you're less likely to get thrown a curveball. Do some test presentations with a safe audience to get some practice and honest feedback and see what works. So the family and friends. Then maybe move into birthday parties. Word of mouth from those friends and family you practice with is probably a great way to get some party bookings. You can reach out to local libraries. I think most start planning their programs for the next year in late summer and early fall. So like now, as of publishing this video, it's a great time to reach out and talk to them. Also, talk to some teachers you know to get into classrooms. Many cities will publish their events and activities in physical forms or online, and there should be email contacts to maybe get in with some summer day camps. I've been doing shows for summer camps near me, and they're so much fun. Live shows are so rewarding. I love doing them, and I hope that this helps you out, Kimber. Thanks for the great question. If you want your question answered or see what other perks my patrons get, head on over to patreon.com/allcanadianreptilegirl. If Patreon isn't your thing, that's okay. I appreciate you taking the time to watch, and you can still help out my channel by hitting the like button. It really helps more than you would think, so thank you. Because he's a little bit more temperamental than our other snakes, we tend to spend more time and energy scrutinizing Fingers' behavior and responses to what we're doing, so we can try to identify particular triggers or things he likes, the optimal time to take him out, that kind of thing. Here's what I've noticed. First, when I take him out of his enclosure, I need to be quick about it. Otherwise, he will be more jumpy and uncooperative when he is finally out. Usually, I take a very slow, measured approach when taking a snake out. I tap on the ground to let him know I'm there, tap on the snake itself to make sure they are awake. Confidently but gently pick them up or coax them to come out on their own. For a nervous snake, I use a snake hook to help. All that seems to really bug Fingers, especially the hook. He does not like it. If I try any of that stuff, he starts hooking around the slots on his bridge or darting away. He gets increasingly flustered as I try to untangle and manage his grabbing and flailing, and takes quite a while to settle back down. With him, slow and steady does not work. Now, this is not the way I recommend taking snakes out of their home, usually. But for Fingers, it's kind of a grab and go. I open the door, I tap on his hide if he's inside it to make sure he's at least awake. Then I reach in and scoop him up as quickly as I can before he figures out what's going on. Again, I am not recommending this as a good way to get a snake out of their enclosure, and might be a great way to get yourself tagged if your snake is of the nervous or defensive persuasion. While not good in general practice, it seems to be what works best for Fingers. One day, I hope we'll be at the point where coming out will be a more collaborative effort. But for now, this is the least stressful and easiest way to get him out and have him in a good headspace to be able to work with him. Another thing we've learned is that Fingers is less cooperative and more grumpy and unsettled when he needs to go to the bathroom. It makes sense, I guess. Who wants to be lifted, squeezed, and prodded while holding in a poop? But I've been pooped on while handling a lot of snakes. Oh, hello, oh my goodness. But I have been pooped on while handling lots of snakes, and I have not seen any of them behave like Fingers does when they need to go. He's always a bit wiggly and huffy when he first comes out, but I have noticed that if he continues for more than a couple of minutes and is not settling down, it's 'cause he needs to poop. Sometimes we can get him outside in time to poop on the lawn, and then sometimes not so much. I smell snake urine. He is also more farty than any snake I've ever known, usually letting a few ones rip before and after he drops some potatoes in the old crock pot. But after he goes, though, he's so much more manageable. It's super easy. He is also so expressive with his body language and the tenseness of his muscles. I can tell what kind of state he's in just by feeling how tightly he holds his body, and I have a trick to help calm him down. I give him a hug. I know it sounds weird, just stay with me. Hobbs is a bit like this too, but when Fingers is being particularly difficult or frustrated that I won't let him climb the mic that's right there off screen, hello, I like to maneuver him into a huggable position, just like this, and give him a gentle but firm squeeze for about 20 seconds. I don't know what it is about this that makes it work. I am not suggesting that he's getting some kind of emotional fulfillment out of it, but maybe feeling contained and squished triggers a reflex as if he's hidden in a cozy hide. I don't know, but when I first hug him, he's all tense and I can literally feel him relax all of his muscles. And he just stops huffing. He's very expressive with his huffs and puffs too. You probably heard it throughout the video. He's just like Hobbs, where he's very talkative. He just chills for a minute until he decides he's had enough and will start trying to climb random things that I tell him not to climb. The microphone. Wait, no, the microphone. His whole energy is completely different after a nice hug, and he's so much more relaxed. It's actually really sweet. Even though I know it's not emotional fulfillment, it's still kind of cute. I think Fingers is a great snake, and I'm very proud of how much he's improved. He still makes Mom a little nervous, but he's a good boy and is getting there. I hope that we can get to a point with him where I can take him to programs and he can be a favorite at live shows just like Hobbs. That would be so cool. So, what do you think of Fingers? I think he did great, though he did try to sabotage my microphone stand multiple times. He is currently trying to get to it. Carpet pythons are beautiful and are certainly interesting snakes. If you have a carpet python, I would love to hear about your experiences with them. Were they similar to what I described with Fingers, or were they completely different? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you again so much for watching, and until next time, remember to nurture all nature. Bye! You literally ate! Wait, what day is it today?
5 days ago.
Oh, I thought he ate 3 days ago. What day is it?
Wait,
Oh, I thought we just fed him. Wow.
we did 5 days ago.
No, I mean, like, I thought we fed him, like, 2 or 3 days ago. I didn't realize. Oh, we should have timed this way better. Nope, that's the microphone. Nope, stop. No. Yeah, thank you.
You okay?
I'm panicked.
I could tell.
Are you mad because I love you and I want to make sure you're healthy? How dare I? Oh yes, you're going to try to retaliate by getting the microphone, aren't you?